What's up, everybody? Nate Sarantino here, back with another episode of the Guided Spirits podcast, and today's topic is why you have to love yourself before you go loving someone else. And this is a really tricky topic for a lot of people. It hits home, and a lot of people, including myself for a long time, struggled with self-love. And don't get self-love confused with self-care, because you can care for yourself and, make sure you stay alive and, not love yourself. You can look in the mirror and be like, damn, this cannot get over the shit that I do. Why am I the way I am? It's just, questioning your own, choices, all the time. Why do you do the things you do? Why can't I be so-and-so? Those are the kind of things that are, the opposite of self-love. So, let me say, self-care, to me, is more of a, how do you keep your body from dying? Self-love is, loving your personality and your psyche. Who is Nate Sarantino? Am I just another man on the street, or is there more to me? Well, of course there's more to me. No one's just a man on the street. And if someone thinks that, well, I don't know. Maybe you're that man on the street. I'm for real. You're probably not. But I just wanted to say that. Anyways, I hope you laughed. So, for real, loving yourself is really important. If you don't know how to love yourself, you are going to struggle with loving other people, because the idea of what's going on internally moves out into the external world is the second Hermetic principle, also known as the Law of Correspondence. So, let me just elaborate on this law real quick. So, you will always have thoughts, and these thoughts will need energy to persist in the quantum field. Basically, they'll immediately or almost instantaneously disappear, and they'll go for one cycle if you don't put more energy into it and build momentum of the energy wave. And if you put energy into it, you're gonna have to continuously put energy into it, and the energy will turn into words and how you talk to yourself. Self-talk is basically where we're getting to. How do you talk to yourself? Are you building yourself up, or are you breaking yourself down? And I'll tell you one thing that helped me a lot is not telling myself that I'm doing a bad job. It's telling myself that I could do better. You see the difference there? It's one's negative and one's constructive criticism. You know when you could do better, but it's never good to tell yourself that you suck or that you did a terrible job or any of that negativity. Though the very, very difference between those can change everything in your subconscious. And people get that confused all the time. And it's very critical that you understand this point I'm making right here, because this is where we draw the line between making yourself better and breaking yourself down, is this constructive criticism when it comes to self-talk. Because we're all going to make mistakes. We're all imperfect. I just made a podcast on it. Every single thing in this universe is a little bit imperfect. The definition of perfect is in the third law of thermodynamics. A perfect crystal at 0 degrees Kelvin is the perfect structure of atoms. And even this, it's just unobtainable, because you can't get to this coldness of order. You'd have to basically have the perfect order with almost literally no vibration, and everything's always moving, so it's never going to be perfect. The second law of thermodynamics says everything's always trying to expand. Basically, It wants to go from that physical material into that liquid, into that gas. It is always expanding. I'm not going to use the bigger words to explain this because a lot of you can barely understand chemistry to begin with. So me involving entropy is just going to confuse you. Now, moving forward, loving yourself is very important when it comes to building relationships in all ways. If you talk poorly to yourself, you're not going to be able to be constructive when it comes to other people. And everyone's capable of change. Some people change a lot slower than others. Some people have so much disorder from being programmed at the best way to put it is a frequency of disorder. You have been attuned to this frequency of 440 your whole life. And when you are tuned to this frequency, your body and your atoms in your subconscious mind are going to operate at this frequency. And this frequency is going to stem out into your life. And you'll see people with very dense bodies who are at a frequency of disorder have more disorder in their life. And my best example of this is looking at my old boss, Ronnie Wilson Jr. I don't want to bring him up any more than that. He had a very dense body. He could take a lot of pain. He could take a hit. He could really, make it through anything. And it's because he had so much, like so many atoms that like he could make it through. Like he could get damaged and they could come in and they could repair his body quickly. Like that's the whole point of like density and nutrient density. It's to be able to make your body live for as long as possible. But you have to be able to hold up that density. And if you can't, you're gonna die young. It's like you have the capability to live for a long time, or it's going to do the opposite and you're going to live for a short amount of time. With that being said, it all comes down to how you take care of yourself, which comes into more of a self-care than a self-love. But like that self-love starts with like what you feed your soul, like in energy, like the media, like what kind of things do you listen to? What frequencies are they playing them at? Are you listening to music on the radio all day that's attuning you to 440? Or are you going into some meditations where you practice some 432 meditations? Maybe you listen to some classical music. Maybe you even listen to some 528 once in a while and you meditate to that. Now that would be a great thing for someone who wants to become a little bit healthier, live a little bit longer, to be a little more youthful. That's something they might practice. With that being said, self-love and being able to communicate with other people, it starts with that self-talk. If you're talking to yourself and you're always telling yourself that you're not good enough or you're doing something wrong, you're at the root of all your problems. And I went through this, especially when it comes to lying when it came to lying to myself about addictions. When you are an addict, you oftentimes don't understand you even have a problem until it's too late. At least this was the case for me, and I see this in many scenarios with many other addicts. I've heard the same thing all the time, and it comes down to these few words. I can quit when I want. Or, don't worry, I'm not addicted. I'm choosing to do this. The choice is clear. When you can do it once and then not do it for months at a time. The choice is clear when you don't do it at all and you just say no. It's very evident. And that's the point I'm trying to get to. When you can tell someone no and tell yourself no, a lot of times that's more of self-love than anything else. You can say, no, you didn't do your best, but you will do better next time. And then when the next time comes around, you're going to do better. You spoke it into existence. This is the whole point of words being powerful. When you talk to yourself and you say something, you're programming your subconscious with the vibration that you're putting out. Emotions and feelings are vibrations, and high vibrations are positive emotions and feelings of gratitude, of enlightenment, which is like really pushing it when it comes to high vibration from like this being positive. Now, I suppose I should move towards to this being grateful and happy and being not proud, but being like happy with your work and with what you become of yourself. You should understand, like, you can be proud of something you've created, but you should be careful where you start being proud of yourself. It's not bad once in a while, but it can build your ego in a way where it gets out of check really quickly. And a lot of people haven't had an LSD experience where they've completely dissolved their ego to the point where they forget who they are. And all they can do is look around at the world. When you realize that the universe is big, your soul, the energy it is, doesn't really impact that universe all that much. Until you understand that, you have to realize that you are just like that ant. Just another life trying to do your best for your colony, for your people, for the greater good of the universe. When you're working in becoming a better version of yourself, you're working on that self-love. When you want to have a better relationship with your significant other, whether that be your wife, your husband, or maybe just whoever it may be, you want to focus on how you're talking to yourself. And then when you're really hard on yourself, maybe it's going to be hard for you to be less hard on other people. Because at the end of the day, like, what you put in is what you get out. And if you're putting that energy into yourself, it's what's going to be mirrored back out, and other people are going to notice. And this is why people with really high standards for themselves often run companies with really high standards. The perfect example is, look at Andy Frisella's company. Andy has the highest standards of many of the people I look at right now, and there's a reason he's on his way to being a billionaire probably before 2030. I mean, definitely with that in mind, he's making well over, what is that, like 9 figures? Yeah, he's making 9 figures. So like that 10's pretty close. So like, why? Well, I think it's because when he started to lose all that weight back when he was first making 75 hard, he started to talk to himself a little bit nicer, and deep down, he loves himself, and it's how he has a loving relationship with his wife, and he loves his country, and he loves the people he works with. He loves the people he works for, because he's doing a lot more than just helping people. He's helping billions of people every time he speaks. When you look at all these people who want to help other people, it's because, one, they've saved themselves. And by saving yourself, you're going to have to love yourself. You can't save yourself without loving yourself. And this is like the realest talk I've had on this podcast when it comes to like really wanting to help yourself. Like, negative talk to the self and telling yourself like you suck or you're not doing a good job, like whatever it may be, like you have to be very careful of how you tell yourself to do better. You can't be that negative influence in your own life. It literally will never help you become better. You always have to be your biggest supporter. You have to be the person building you up. If you're lucky enough to have someone in your life, your entire life, who's your number one supporter, you literally have hit the lottery. And I, for almost my entire life so far, have had two of the most supporting parents I could imagine. Yes, they were the two parents who adopted me from Russia. But that doesn't change anything because they were there for me in almost every single scenario. Of course, there's been times where I've had to be there for myself. And at some point, every man realizes that no one's coming to save them. Mom and dad can only do so much until it's time for whoever you are, for me, Nate Sarantino, to put on the pants to get himself out of debt, to get himself onto the stage, to get himself a few different companies, to really start making some progress when it comes to mental health, and not only that, but physical health and longevity, because it really does all start with the mind, and then it moves into the brain, moves to the heart, it moves into every organ, and then it moves into the muscles, into every little piece of your body, every bone, everything needs to be able to vibrate at this frequency of like gratitude for your life. And it all starts with talking to yourself the right way. You wake up in the morning and you say, damn, I'm grateful to be alive, versus, damn, I just woke up. Think about the difference that plays on your subconscious alone. If you woke up and were like, shit, I gotta go to work. No, you wake up and you're like, I get to go to work. The difference between those, the enthusiasm, the feeling of being able to do something, to get to do something, not you have to do something. Everything in life is a choice, including life itself. I've tried to kill myself, and I'm so grateful that I tried and failed, because it gave me the understanding of the value of life and made me realize what the people who actually succeed were going through. Where, of course, they were going through their own problems, but at the end of the day, if something pushes you to that point, you're obviously at about the same vibration, because the vibration of suicide is one of the lowest vibrations anyone can be at. And if there's anyone out there right now who's thinking about it, I really hope you don't, and I hope you choose to live one more day, and then after that you say, I'm gonna go for one more day. And then just keep telling yourself, no, I can make it through one more day. And then all of a sudden it's going to be a year, and you're going to notice how just keep saying one more day will change. And this is how I really quit nicotine. Because at a certain point, it was just like, one more day. You stay sober one more day. Like, you can smoke tomorrow. Oh, you can smoke tomorrow. Like, now you want to be a procrastinator. See? If you're going to be something, you got to be able to play a game with yourself. You got to be able to make whatever you want out of anything. You have to play the system that you created. At the end of the day, we all are humans. Everything that humans have to deal with, we created ourselves. And everything we create, we can also destroy. Everything. We are all one. We all say what we want to say, and we don't say what we don't want to say. So what I'm trying to get to is, don't say negativity to yourself. Say positivity to yourself. Whatever those positive things may be, say them. This is like the power of affirmations. The whole point is to program your subconscious. People think it's like some crazy spirituality shit. Like, it's not even that deep. Like, the whole point is, like, self-talk programs you so hard. Like, no one has to live with you besides you. You could live alone in the woods your whole life and have your sanity because you understand how to talk to yourself. Most people don't know how to talk to themselves, and that's why they struggle with loneliness. You can't be alone if you're friends with the person in the mirror. You talk to yourself out loud. Yeah, someone might think you're weird if they walk in on you, but at the end of the day, like, all you gotta do is just love that person. You gotta be like, damn, like, this is who I get to be with every day, and I am so glad it's no one else. And then when you hit that point, the person of your dreams, that significant other, is gonna walk into your life, and you're gonna be like, damn, I am so glad I chose to love myself first, because then I didn't take it out on someone else when I didn't love myself. Because that negativity that you're putting into yourself, that you're dealing with, that's going out onto someone else. That's that mirror effect, that second law of hermetic principles, for real. I'm telling you all, like, this is, it is what it is. That's enlightenment. It is what it is. But you want to become your best self. Take this to heart. Listen to this a couple times. I couldn't be any more clear. And I really do want you to understand that, like, if you want a better world, if you want your children to not want to kill themselves, you got to love yourself. When your parents don't love themselves, the child can notice because you treat yourself and your body poorly. That self-love eventually hits self-care. But it all starts with the soul. If you can't talk to yourself well, you're not going to treat your body well. But the universe is a lot more spiritual than it is material. So that material body lasts a lot less longer than that soul. Your soul is eternal. And a lot of people don't realize that they've been reincarnated many times, and many times have they failed to learn how to love themselves. And I bet you a lot of people are on that same path of learning how to love themselves. Or learning how to care. Learning how to care is an important one. I made a podcast on it. You should go back to it if you are struggling with caring. Because caring has to happen before love. But for real though, like, why you should care? It's because you should care for yourself. That's why. Anyways, for real, I love you all. And please, 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 please love yourself and allow that love to spread into everything. It will seep into every crack and every crevice of the universe through the quantum field. It won't even spread through this material world. It will spread through the atoms, through the vibration, through the air. Love is a frequency, a very high vibrational frequency. Just allow it to flourish because it will spread like wildfire. And I promise you, you won't regret it. Last but not least, this was the Guided Spirits podcast, and I really do thank you all for listening. Have a great rest of your day.